I was reviewing architectural plans at my home office when photos started flooding the family group chat. My older sister Brenda was giving what looked like a tour of a house under renovation, measuring rooms, discussing paint colors, planning furniture layouts with her 2 kids. Brenda, the master suite will be perfect for us. Emma, you get the room with the bay window. Lucas, the corner room with the built-in shelves is yours. Mom, I'm so proud of you, Brenda. Finally getting the house you deserve after all your hard work. Aunt Rita, that's a beautiful property. Great neighborhood too. You've done so well for yourself. I zoomed in on the photos. That house looked familiar. Very familiar. I opened my laptop and pulled up my current projects folder. There it was, 1247 Oakmont Drive. The Victorian I'd purchased 6 months ago as a fix-and-flip investment. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, original hardwood floors that needed refinishing, outdated kitchen requiring full renovation. Purchase price, $340,000. Projected renovation budget, $120,000. Expected resale, $625,000. My phone buzzed with a direct message from Brenda. Maya, we're having a family celebration dinner Sunday to toast my new house. Try to dress appropriately for once. We're going somewhere nice. I stared at the message, then back at my renovation plans. My contractor Tom Wilson had the keys. Work was scheduled to begin next week. The property was vacant, utilities off, completely stripped down to studs in some areas. Another message appeared in the group chat. Brenda, I know it needs work, but that's what makes it such a smart investment. The seller was desperate. Some out-of-state investor who didn't want to deal with renovations. I got it for a steal. Dad, Brenda's always been the smart one with money. Making deals, building equity. That's real financial planning. Brenda, unlike some people who waste money on consulting fees and working from home in pajamas, this is how you build real wealth. Tangible assets, property ownership, the American dream. My hands tightened around my phone. I'd built my real estate investment portfolio to 12 properties over 4 years using profits from my structural engineering consulting firm. The firm my family dismissed as something technical, while celebrating Brenda's job as a dental office manager. I called Tom Wilson, my contractor. Tom, has anyone else been at the Oakmont property? Anyone with keys? Funny you should ask. I stopped by yesterday to do measurements and found a woman inside with 2 kids. She said she was the new owner, doing a walkthrough before renovations. I told her only you had authorization to be there, but she insisted she'd closed on the property. What did she look like? Blonde, late 30s, driving a white SUV. She got pretty angry when I questioned her authority. Said she'd report me to her contractor if I didn't leave. That was Brenda. Tom, she's my sister. She doesn't own the property. I do. Silence. Then, oh boy. Want me to change the locks? Not yet. I have a better idea. We're scheduled to start work Monday, correct? Yes, ma'am. Full crew starting with electrical and plumbing. Perfect. I'll arrange for the building inspector to come Monday morning for the initial walkthrough. Can you be there at 9 a.m. with all the permits? All the permits that are in your name as the property owner? Exactly. And Tom? Bring copies of the purchase agreement and deed. All of them. This is going to be interesting. I'll be there. I opened my email and contacted my real estate attorney, Patricia Gomez. 20 minutes later, I had everything documented. Purchase records, title transfer, permit applications, contractor agreements. All with my name and company, Redwood Property Investments, LLC. The family chat continued to explode with excitement. Brenda posted more photos, this time with measurements and renovation plans she'd apparently drawn up herself. Plans that violated at least 3 building codes and would have failed inspection immediately. Brenda, knocking out this wall to open up the kitchen. Adding a deck off the master bedroom. Converting the attic to a 4th bedroom. I screenshot every message and sent them to Patricia. Her response: she's trespassing and planning unpermitted structural changes to property she doesn't own. This could be criminal if she proceeds with any work. Brenda, family dinner Sunday at Giovanni's, 6 p.m. Everyone needs to come celebrate my new house and hear about my renovation plans. Maya, that includes you. Try not to talk about boring computer stuff for once. I typed a response: I'll be there. Sunday arrived. I dressed in one of my business suits, the wardrobe Brenda called trying too hard, and drove to Giovanni's. The family was already seated at a large table when I arrived. Brenda sat at the head, beaming, with Emma and Lucas on either side. My parents flanked them, looking proud. Aunt Rita and Uncle Joe completed the celebration. "Paya," Brenda called out. "So glad you could make it. We're just about to order champagne." I slid into the empty seat. "Congratulations on. What are we celebrating exactly?" "Buy new house." Brenda pulled out her phone, showing the table more photos of 1247 Oakmont Drive. 3 bedrooms, beautiful Victorian architecture, amazing neighborhood. "I closed on it last week." "Last week?" I asked. "Which title company did you use?" Brenda waved her hand dismissively. "The seller handled all that. Some investment company that just wanted out. They were so eager to sell they barely negotiated. I basically stole it." "How much did you pay?" Uncle Joe asked. "Well, I haven't exactly closed yet," Brenda admitted. "But we've agreed in principle. They're motivated, so it's just paperwork at this point. The house is essentially mine." My father raised his glass. "To Brenda. Always making smart moves while others are stuck in dead-end consulting work." I didn't raise my glass. "Brenda, who exactly did you negotiate with?" "Some property manager. He said the owner was out of state and just wanted to move the property quickly." "Why? What's the property manager's name?" "I don't remember. Tom something? Does it matter?" "Tom Wilson." "Yes. That's it. Nice guy, seemed very eager to work with me." I pulled out my phone and opened my email, turning it toward Brenda. "Tom Wilson is my contractor. He's not a property manager and he's not authorized to sell my properties." The table went quiet. "Your properties?" Brenda's smile faltered. "Maya, what are you talking about?" I opened my files and pulled out a folder I'd brought. Inside were printed copies of the purchase agreement, the deed, the title transfer documents, and the permit applications. I laid them on the table. 1247 Oakmont Drive. Purchased 6 months ago by Redwood Property Investments LLC for $340,000. Owner, Maya Chen. "That's me." Brenda grabbed the papers, her face going from confused to pale. "This has to be wrong. Tom said the owner was selling. He gave me a tour." "Tom gave you a tour because you showed up at my property claiming to be the new owner. He called me immediately after you left. He never said he was selling anything, and he certainly never had authority to negotiate on my behalf." My mother shook her head. "Maya, this doesn't make sense. You don't buy houses. You do computer work." "I'm a structural engineer. I run a consulting firm that specializes in renovation feasibility and building safety assessments. I've been flipping properties for 4 years. 1247 Oakmont is my 13th project." 13th. My father's voice was faint. "I own 12 rental properties currently and have this flip in progress. My real estate portfolio is valued at approximately $4.2 million. Aunt Rita was reading the documents over Brenda's shoulder. "These are official county records. Maya's name is on everything." "Brenda, did you actually sign any papers?" "Well, no," Brenda admitted. "Tom said we'd handle paperwork after I decided on renovation plans. I was supposed to bring financing proof this week." "Financing for what?" I asked. "You can't buy a house that's not for sale. Tom never told you he was selling. He told you he was MY contractor working on MY renovation project. He said the owner was motivated." "I am motivated. Motivated to complete renovations and sell for a profit. Not to you. To the highest bidder on the open market once renovations are complete." The champagne sat untouched. Emma and Lucas looked confused, glancing between their mother and me. "But I told everyone," Brenda said weakly. "I posted on social media. I measured the rooms. I planned where all our furniture would go." "You trespassed on my property," I said. "Multiple times based on the security camera footage. You planned unpermitted structural modifications that would violate building codes. And you told your children they could pick their rooms in a house you don't own and never had any legal right to." Uncle Joe cleared his throat. "Brenda, how exactly did this arrangement come about?" "I drove past the house and saw the for sale sign from 6 months ago still up. I called the number and got Tom. He said he was managing the property and gave me a tour. He mentioned the owner wanted to sell quickly and I assumed. You assumed wrong, I said. That sign should have been removed. I'll talk to Tom about that. But even if the house was for sale, you don't get to move in, plan renovations and claim ownership without actually purchasing it. My mother looked at me like seeing me for the first time. Maya, you said 13 properties? You've been buying and renovating houses. Yes. I tried to tell you about my first flip 3 years ago at Thanksgiving. Dad said I should focus on getting a real job, instead of wasting time on side projects. I invited everyone to my company launch party when I incorporated Redwood Property Investments. No one came. You said you were helping Brenda move into her new apartment. Brenda was still staring at the documents. But you never said you were rich. I'm not rich. I'm building equity through strategic property investments using income from my engineering firm. It's called financial planning. You literally just said 5 minutes ago that this is how you build real wealth. That's different. Brenda protested. I meant for successful people. People who work hard at real jobs. I have a master's degree in structural engineering. I run a consulting firm with 8 employees. We handle safety assessments for commercial and residential renovations across 3 states. Last year my firm grossed $890,000. This year we're on track for $1.1 million. That's not a real job. The table was silent. Patricia Gomez, my attorney, chose that moment to arrive. I'd invited her, though I hadn't mentioned it to the family. Sorry I'm late, Patricia said, pulling up a chair. Maya, I have those documents you requested. She placed a legal folder on the table. These are cease and desist letters for Brenda Chin regarding continued trespass at 1247 Oakmont Drive. Also, documentation of all security camera footage showing unauthorized entry. Brenda's face went white. You're serving me legal papers? At dinner. You're planning unpermitted structural changes to property you don't own, Patricia said calmly. If you proceed with any construction, Maya will pursue criminal charges for vandalism and property damage. The estimated cost of your planned renovations, done improperly, could cause structural damage exceeding $200,000. I wasn't going to actually do anything, Brenda said desperately. You posted on Facebook that you'd hired a contractor and work starts tomorrow, Patricia countered, showing her phone. That's your post from this morning. Brenda grabbed her own phone, frantically deleting the post. Too late, Patricia said. Screenshots are already filed with your cease and desist documentation. My father found his voice. Maya, surely this is extreme. Brenda made a mistake. Family doesn't serve family with legal papers. Family doesn't trespass on family's property, plan unauthorized renovations, and tell everyone they own something that isn't theirs, I replied. Brenda's mistake could have resulted in serious property damage if she'd actually hired contractors and started work. I thought it was mine. Brenda cried. Based on what? A conversation with my contractor where he gave you a tour? Did you sign a purchase agreement? Make an offer? Provide earnest money? Do title research? Silence. You wanted it to be yours, so you convinced yourself it was. Just like you've convinced yourself you're the successful one in this family while dismissing everything I've achieved. Mom was scrolling through the documents. You own properties in 3 different cities? 4 cities now. I just closed on a duplex in Riverside last month. Why didn't you tell us? I did. Repeatedly. You weren't interested in listening. Emma, Brenda's daughter, spoke up quietly. Mom, if Aunt Maya owns the house, why did you tell us to pick our rooms? Brenda couldn't answer. Lucas added, you said we'd have a yard and I could get a dog. The hurt in their voices cut deeper than any legal threat could. Monday morning at 9 a.m., I met Tom Wilson and the building inspector at 1247 Oakmont Drive. The inspector reviewed all permits, properly filed, properly approved, all in my name as property owner. Everything looks good here, Ms. Chin, the inspector said. Proceed with renovations. I'll be back for framing inspection in 2 weeks. Tom handed me new keys. Changed all the locks this morning. Your sister drove by twice while I was working but didn't stop. Thanks, Tom. And I'm sorry about the confusion she caused. Not your fault. For what it's worth, your renovation plan is smart. Her ideas would have collapsed the second-floor support structure. The renovations proceeded smoothly. 6 months later, 1247 Oakmont Drive sold for $635,000. $10,000 more than projected. After renovation costs and closing fees, I netted $142,000 profit. Brenda had to move in with our parents after her apartment lease ended. Turns out she'd already given notice, confident she'd be moving into her house. She'd even sold some furniture to make room for the new pieces she'd planned to buy. My parents tried to intervene, asking if I could help Brenda with a down payment on something more modest. I declined. Mom called me heartless. Dad said I was punishing Brenda for an honest mistake. It wasn't honest, I said. She knew she hadn't purchased the house. She just wanted it so badly that she pretended she had. 6 months later, I purchased my 14th property, a craftsman bungalow that actually did need an owner-occupant. I sold it to a young couple for a fair price after completing quality renovations. Brenda still lives with our parents. She tells people she's between houses, and that she almost bought a Victorian but the deal fell through. She never mentions who owned the Victorian. My family occasionally asks about my house projects now, though they still don't really understand what I do. Mom sent me a Facebook friend request so she could see my business page. Dad mentioned to his golf buddies that his daughter does real estate. It's not the recognition I wanted, but it's honest. I drive past 1247 Oakmont sometimes. The new owners painted it blue, a good choice for the Victorian architecture. They added window boxes with flowers. Books loved. Brenda's kids asked to visit once. They wanted to see the rooms they'd picked. I said no gently. Those rooms belong to another family now. A family that actually bought the house. Sometimes wanting something doesn't make it yours. Sometimes you actually have to earn it, pay for it, build it yourself. Brenda wanted a house. I bought 13. Only one of us actually owns property.